Good day, viewers. Walter here. Thought I'd do a little multitasking today. As I work out here in the yard, I thought I'd share part 5 of my life as a railway carman journal. And I can tell you that story as I do a little yard work out here. I'm going to fill the bird bath first. Just cleaning it up a little bit. I need to go get a brush. Good day, friends. Walter here. Today I present part 5 of my life as a railway carman journal. Due to the fact that my memories of things that happened during my 34-year railroad career are jumbled up in my head and not in any chronological order, as I produce this journal, I will tend to present events that occurred during my career in a random order, as I always have on the various stories that I've shared with you here on YouTube. Here is a recent question from one of my viewers. Is working a carman's job dangerous? The answer is yes. It certainly is, and it requires constant vigilance to protect oneself from the many dangers. Rail cars are huge and consist of heavy parts. The on-the-job hazards are many. Over the years, I have had many close calls with death and many injuries and aches and pains. I have been burned, cut, sustained broken bones, strained muscles, and falls, and far too many injuries to list. Over the years, I've seen many injuries to my fellow employees that range from mashed fingers and toes, lost fingers, and yes, even death. I would say my most common injuries would come under the getting burned category. When one of your duties involves working with cutting torches and heating torches and welders, occasionally one tends to get careless and touches some hot metal or just brushes up against it. You ain't too happy when that happens. You're not too happy when some welding slag gets in your eardrum, bouncing around. Did you ever try removing a laced-up work boot, which has hot slag inside it and burning into your foot? All you can do is grit your teeth and bear it, because the damage will be done before you can remove said boot. Don't even get me started trying to explain the pain when it burns through your trousers and into your underwear. There's nothing more funny than a guy dancing around while quickly and quite publicly dropping his pants and jerking down his drawers to get at some hot slag that settled in a rather sensitive area. Brother Bill Cleveland once laughed at me for several minutes when I forgot and picked up a small piece of hot metal with my bare hands. I yelled at him, "What's so funny, Mr. Cleveland?" He replied with a hearty laugh, "Brother Parks, it don't take you long to look at a hot piece of metal." Even though I was in pain and agony, I had to laugh along with him. It's just one of the hazards of the job that we learn to live with. Many of the burns I got over the year were of the 3rd degree variety. I have burned so many times, just remembering some of these times brings the smell of burning flesh vividly to the forefront of my mind. When you worked in shops, your clothing would get all full of burn holes, and more than once I've caught myself on fire. I invite you to listen to my smoking jacket story on carknocker.com. It was such an expected and common happening that we were allotted more money per hour just for our burned clothing. Today I share the story of the day I burned my right eye. I was sitting on the concrete floor under a gondola rail car on Track 1 at the Southern Railway Emmons Yard repair shed. I had a cutting torch in my hand I was cutting a badly bent metal bracket off to be replaced by a new one that I had just manufactured. As always, molten metal and slag was spraying away from me in a bright stream, when briefly I lost the burn puddle as I was cutting through the 1/2 inch steel plate with my oxygen acetylene torch. When that happens, the spray of molten slag usually will blast right back in the face to the person operating the torch. Naturally, he then gets a shower of molten slag all over himself. When it happens, you can expect hot metal down your neck, on your ears, or in your hair, and random other parts of your body, including your face and eyes. It's not a big deal. Usually you just have to grit your teeth and bear it. This particular day, I was wearing an old-style pair of cutting goggles. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They have an elastic strap, and there's just 2 eyepieces that fit over your eye. The goggles were not protecting my eyes adequately. A large bead of slag, no bigger than the English pea, entered the side of my goggles and settled directly onto the pupil of my right eye. The immediate result was my eye was badly singed. It was so badly singed that it blinded me. All I could see was a blur. The clear membrane of my eyeball was a shriveled and burnt mess. I couldn't see anything with my right eye. I went to the office to report the injury, which didn't sit well with the bosses in there, who immediately tried to get me to confess I had not been wearing my goggles. After a grueling session with them, they absolutely hate having to fill out an accident report, I was taken to a place called Howell Clinic in Atlanta, Georgia. Doctors that represented the company's welfare looked at my eye. An eye specialist doctor strapped my head to this device, took a scalpel, and cut the damaged membrane off the outer layer of my eyeball. I questioned him, "Will I be blind in this eye?" His reply was, "Most likely not, and your sclera over your eye will grow back." Medication was applied to my eye, and my right eye was bandaged shut. I was then returned to the repair shop by the foreman who had escorted me to Howell Clinic, just in time to get off work for the day. It so happened at that time that I rode a Kawasaki 750 street bike. Boy, it was a pretty decked out red thing, had fairings and saddlebags. I had everything you wanted on that bike. I often wish I had it back. Anyway, that's what I rode to work every day, was that Kawasaki 750. I was in a predicament. To make the 30-mile trip on my bike around interstate highways I-285 and I-75 from Atlanta to Marietta, Georgia, I would have to ride with one eye bandaged shut. Now, this was my dilemma that I was presented with. I don't know if many of you viewers listening to me know it, but to ride a bike, a complete field of vision is required to do it safely, especially in traffic. Just close your right eye and imagine you're blind in that eye. You cannot see anything on your right side, especially moving cars and trucks. You could quite easily get ran over. That day I got lucky due to the fact that the shift was ending, but my fellow employees had not yet gone home. There were several of us who rode our bikes to work there. I enlisted the aid of my fellow carman. His name was Frank Vandervender. May he rest in peace. Frank was going my way. His destination was a bit farther away than mine was. We rode in the same lane of traffic, with him slightly ahead of me and over on my right side so that I could see him. He protected my right side that way. All I had to do was turn when he turned. He protected my right side that way. We got off at my exit, and he escorted me all the way home. For the rest of the time that I wore that eye bandage, I drove a Ford pickup truck to work. In a week or so, the bandage was removed, and I was grateful to have my vision back. My eye, to this day, has some residual damage and has never been back to 100%. I will conclude today's vlog at this point. Thanks for listening, and as always, your comments are welcome and appreciated here. Your comments make my day.